Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Athlete. 5 years ago, I finished building this truck and kind of took it on the road part-time to be an adventure athlete. I still had builds to go and still running a full-time fab shop. But I built this truck around health and fitness, and 13 months ago, I decided that I was going to go carnivore, and I did that not only because I wanted to strip some fat off my body, I wanted to become fat adaptive, and I also wanted to heal the chronic inflammation that I have in my bone-on-bone left ankle from a motorcycle injury about 30 years ago. And the carnivore really helped with reducing the inflammation, So last August, I went 60 days hardcore carnivore, and I did nothing but started with just ribeyes. I thought ribeyes was what you needed to do, and some eggs, butter, salt. Salt is one of the things that you actually gets depleted as if you're an athlete and you're out really sweating, you need to do something that is a hydration supplement. So we'll talk about carnivore, and probably something you should think about doing would be like a Redmond's Relight. I'll leave a link in my description down below to my Amazon store for the stuff that I use and buy with my own money. And I also use creatine monohydrate. I actually use the bulk supplements brand. I'll leave a link to that also. Here's kind of like what bulk supplements look like, but I like that little jar came in, made it nice and easy to do that. Okay, so back to talking about carnivore. I did that really strict for 60 days. I did that to reduce the inflammation, and it worked. Also worked, I started stripping off poundage off my body, fat, to be honest. Not so much, muscle, because a lot of people say, well, if you intermittent fast and you do carnivore, your body's going to start cannibalizing itself. That I did not find that the case. I actually found that I performed better physically in my multidiscipline sports. Primarily when we're down here, I run, I ride, I paddle, and I swim. And I've noticed gains now in every arena, being fat adaptive and being able to train on an empty stomach. And I'm down here riding and running. I'm not fast because of the ankle. I run 7 to 10 miles on a couple days a week basis. And I'm not fast, but I get through it, and that actually helps my ankle somehow. I don't know. But I do ride with some pretty fast guys, and they consume gels. And 30 minutes in, you start stripping the first gel, and man, they kind of take off. And it's a struggle for me because I'm fat adaptive, training fasted, and it's a struggle for me to kind of keep up. It really works. Then you start seeing like them starting to come down from that sugar high, that sugar spike. And maybe 15 minutes in, I start catching up. I'm never really faster because I'm actually really running with some guys that are pretty legit. But I can see the sugar come down out of their body while I'm fasted. And so I wanted to do this video to kind of talk about my fat adaptive strategy and why I am no longer full carnivore, but now I prioritize protein. And I'll talk a little bit about the things that I have added in. But in the training, back to that, about the 20-minute, 25-minute marker before they strip another gel in their mouth, I'm right on them, and I'm getting stronger as that 2 to 3 hour training session goes on. Now, what is the longest fat adaptive ride duration that I've done? It's about 6 hours and 36 minutes, 91 miles from San Bernardino down here to Newport Dunes on the bicycle. And that was loaded down with sleeping bags, backpack, everything you needed to camp off the bike for 3 days. And I did that and got stronger as I came down. Now, I do notice my window for that is about 6 hours, and then I start to kind of run a little bit out of energy, and it's time for me to eat something again. I do use Ketone IQ. I will leave a link for that also down, and I'll strip one of those off around the 6 hour mark if I need to keep going on, get some ketones in me, and go from there. And I'm not hungry, I'm not crashing. So at 2 o'clock, I eat my first meal and talk a little bit about that. I'm doing about 40 ounces of the Redmond's Relight or an Element supplemented water. to hold that hydration in your cells and actually keep some of that. And I also run pure water with me also on these longer evolutions. But I feel great. When I get back 2 o'clock, my first meal, it may still look like a ribeye, ground beef. I like chicken thighs, skin on the grill. I find that the higher fat content really works well for me. And fat does not make you fat, unlike a lot of people think. Fat is actually something that is like building blocks for your ligaments and different things like that, your softer tissue, tendons. I feel like it keeps them a little bit more lubricated. Definitely keeps the inflammation down off the ankle. I'm no longer taking ibuprofen. I'm about 2.5 weeks into that process. And am I getting some inflammation? Yes, I am, but I'm no longer taking an anti-inflammatory, just trying to get off of anything that's not like something that's really good for you. That being said, avocado. Avocado is something that I eat daily, and there is a tough, that's probably the toughest part about what I do, is having a ripe avocado every day. And we usually buy the ones bagged up, just because they're a little cheaper, and these tend to have small seeds in them. But this is what we get wherever we're at. If it's Stater Brothers, they have them bagged up. Trader Joe's has them. But I leave them out until they get a little soft. And when they start to get soft, we have 12 of them here, so I put them in the refrigerator, and that actually works out really well. And in the morning, I get out and I put one out, and then cut it open like this, and then you take a knife and you cut down on that and you turn it sideways and the seed comes right out, and I usually just eat it right out of the skin. Really a good way to go. Might as well sit down here while I'm talking to you. So I did add that, and then my next thing that I do after I eat that, I did introduce like sauerkraut, pickles, olives, things that actually are pickled. Seems to work really well, and I think that actually has a hydration piece to it also. The brine in there with the kosher dills is excellent for if you happen to get cramps. I don't tend to get cramps anymore. I used to go through a bottle of Tums about maybe every 3 weeks. I go through a big bottle because I always had indigestion. I may take one a week now, and that's when I cheat and eat something I probably shouldn't have eaten. Which is my next step, is I've become a little bit metabolically adaptive, meaning that I could eat different things and still get the fuel from it. I try not to focus on carbs, but I did add Greek yogurt and blueberries, and then I use a natural honey with the salt on it for a dessert, and that works out really well. And I'm going to be honest, once a week, on the weekends, I have an ice cream from Salt and Straw, super creamy. It's got sugar in it. I usually try to avoid sugar, but none of that stuff triggers me like it used to. So my thought process, if you wanted to follow my fueling strategy and the results that I got, and I'm not saying that all of us are the same. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying you should do this. I just had several people ask me, so I thought it would be better to do the video and talk about when I eat, how I eat, and what I eat. So 2 o'clock's my first meal. I usually eat 1 or 2 meals a day, and on my second meal, that's usually something that we eat out. So I have to make the best choice I can while we're out. We go to karaoke, we go to taverns, we go to different things that has entertainment while we're down here. We do the same thing when we're back home. But with that, I make the best choice. One of the places we go, their fryer is loaded with beef tallow. So anything fried, that's a go for you. So the hot wings, I get raw with sauce on the side, side of real butter. Some of the places down here actually focus on quality ingredients versus you want to really try to avoid seed oils, although I don't really see a huge difference in that. I listen to a lot of different podcasts with doctors talking about this, and these are like MDs that are kind of branched away from the normal medical system. Like would be like a Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Berg, who was some of the other ones I listened to today. Anyway, if you search carnivore, in YouTube. You found this because you might have saw something like that on YouTube, and this came up next. Those guys are really leading the charge on this, and some of them have went, not Dr. Sean Baker, he's just pure, I think he just eats ribeye, and he's phenomenal at, I think he's 59 years old, and he's making gains and putting on muscle and doing really well, and he's someone to look at that's worked for him. For myself, the only reason why I have veered off from strict carnivore is I just get tired of eating the same stuff all the time. The hamburger, ribeye, chicken has been my base with eggs. I probably eat somewhere around 18 eggs a week. I try to prioritize that at my 2 o'clock meal. When I'm gone and doing an adventure out, I usually end up eating 1 meal a day. And I know a lot of you are out there thinking, oh my God, how do you do that? How aren't you hungry? When you eat the fatty meats, the satiety takes you over, and like that hunger. I don't even eat a full ribeye anymore. I can take a pretty decent sized ribeye, cut it in half, and have one day and one the next. I just get kind of tired of eating that much, and I'm full. Still losing weight. When I came down here, I had lost 42 pounds. Now I'm somewhere around 46, and I think I'm about where I'm plateauing because I'm starting to trade the fat loss for putting on more muscle. I'm seeing that with my push-ups, doing some curls, and just kind of doing a positive. I added squats to my program also, and I'm starting to see a lot more muscle actually bulk up and build on. For the creatine, talking about that once again, I do 10 grams. I think the recommended is 5. I do 10. I do that in my black coffee with salt. That works out well for me, and I've heard that salt helps trap the creatine in. I don't know. I just kind of listen to some different things, and I kind of do a 90-day test window and try to stay strict in that. And we're coming up on our 60 days down here, 61 days we've been down here now. And what I've done in that 61 days has worked. I feel better. I have more power. I have more energy, and I'm making positive gains. So once again, I'm not a doctor, not recommending you guys do carnivore, not a version of carnivore. But if you're thinking about doing it, the strategy that I used with the intermittent fasting, 18-6 is kind of my normal. Sometimes I do a 19-5, sometimes it's a 24, sometimes it's just a 24-0, if you want to call it that, 1 meal a day, OMAD. So I kind of stay metabolically flexible, and I seem to do really well. I'm really liking this eating strategy and fueling strategy, the training strategy, because it's all tied in now. I thought, like, how in the heck am I going to have enough energy with no carbs in me to go do a 3-hour training session? I do that no problem, and I get back, and I really don't even need to fuel. I could wait to do 1 meal a day. I just psychologically, I like to eat, but I'm finding I'm really not eating a ton on my 2 o'clock meal. Maybe the size of the ribeye is a little smaller than my hand. I love a chuck eye, not available down here. Chuck eye seems to be a smaller cut, still fatty, really good tasting, but it's a cheap piece of meat. It's like a $3 steak, and they just do not have it down here in this Newport area from every grocery store that I've looked. So sometimes I do the beef short ribs. I kind of change it up a little bit. I do sausage, pork, sometimes seafood. So I feel that strategy with the intermittent fasting works out just perfect for the fueling. I think you have to let your stomach and your gut biome, your mitochondria, adapt to that. But if you're thinking about trying it, I highly recommend it. It's a way of eating for me that I find enjoyment in. All the foods I eat, I really enjoy. I do pumpkin seeds, salted pumpkin seeds, because I really feel like I can't take in enough salt. I feel that that's something that's really important, and I always thought salt was bad for you and high blood pressure. What you don't use, you pee out. I feel that sugar is the enemy, and seed oils are also the enemy, although I haven't had a whole lot of problem with places that I've done chicken strips, out of a regular fryer that they're using whatever cheap oil they can use in it. And I don't notice any bloating. But what I do notice is, like, if I eat a salad, I noticed bloating almost instantly. And my wife just started this. She kind of did it last year with me too. And when you're working, you're doing all kinds of other stuff, it's kind of harder to stay on a eating strategy. And we're both back to a carnivore-ish type. But she loves salads and loves the greens. But yeah, she's like, yeah, look at this. I just ate this and I'm bloated up. One other thing why I'm thinking about it is body odor. Body odor and the fur on your teeth. Like you eat something like a donut, for instance, and man, it's all over your teeth and you just feel like nasty. With the carnivore, I feel like I always just came out of the dentist after a thorough cleaning. Nothing's really sticking. I do use baking powder to brush my teeth with the Sonicare. I feel like that works really well, and it's pure. All the water throughout here is all purified, filtered, goes through a Berkey in the back, and that's the water I drink. So I'm always trying to do the healthiest thing and share with you guys to inspire you. So once again, if you're thinking about trying it, do your own research, figure out what you're going to do. You're probably not going to get any help from your regular doctor going to him or her because they just weren't taught this way. I kind of believe that the food pyramid is upside down. So if you just kind of took that pyramid and turned it this way, that's about how you should eat. If you just eat single ingredient foods, I think you're going to be so much more ahead than you would be if you were doing something else. Another thing that I do also for the hydration piece, while I'm thinking about it, for vegetables, and I eat very few, I do cucumber, I do watermelon. I don't know if that's a fruit or a vegetable, to be honest. And I do things that are in season, but I don't eat a whole lot of fruit, and I don't eat hardly any vegetables. If I do, it's going to be like a tuber, like a sweet potato, something like that, maybe once a week. But I find that I don't need the carbs. So do your own research, see what you think, but give yourself a 90-day window to try something out. You're going to really see results in about 60 on that program. But I feel like it takes about 90 days for your gut to totally change over. And when I tried going vegan, that's probably been 4 or 5 years ago, because I'm always looking for a good fueling strategy to give me energy. And that definitely wasn't it, but I only did that for 3 weeks to a month, and then went and bought some meat and got back to how I normally eat, and instantly started feeling better and more power and stronger again. So that was just my experience. Let me know in the comments anything you guys would like to know, and I'll catch you here next time.